the DNS? So first question is, what is DNS? Domain naming system is a service which work at application layer and can be installed through role-based installation. Basically, DNS resolves the FQDN to IP address and IP address to FQDN. FQDN means fully qualified domain name. Question number 2. Can you explain round robin DNS? Round robin DNS refer to the movement of traffic of viewers from one server to another. It is useful in balancing the traffic load of web server distribution over vast geographical areas. Let us suppose there is one domain name for 3 IP address on 3 servers. The first user gets directed to the first IP address. Similarly, the second user moved to the second IP address and the third user moved to third IP address. The fourth user is directed back to the first IP address. This series is known as round-robin DNS. Question number 3. What are the resource record in DNS? A record, A address. Make a host name to the IP address. When a computer has multiple adapter, card and IP address, it should have multiple address record. C name, colloquial name, sets an alias for host name. For example, using the record jetatvpress.com can have alias as www.tvpress.com. MX record, mail exchange. Specify a mail exchange server for the domain which allow mail to be delivered on correct mail server in the domain. NS name server. Specify a name server for domain which allow DNS lookup within various zone, which primarily and secondly zone server should be declared through this record. PTR pointer. Create a pointer that map an IP address to host name for reserve lookup. SOA, start of authority. Declare the host that is most authoritative for the zone and as such is the best resource of DNS information for the zone. Each zone file must have an SOA record which is created automatically when you add a zone. 4. What are the forwarded and reverse lookup? Forward lookup zone. When a name query is sent to the DNS server against to IP address, it is generally said a forward lookup. Reverse lookup. DNS also provide a resource lookup process, enabling client to use a known IP address during a name query and look up computer name based on its address. Question number 5. What is DNS? Dynamic DNS or DDNS is method of updating in real time a domain name system to point to a changing IP address on internet. This is used to provide a persistent domain name for resource that may change location on the network. Question number 6. Enlist the properties of DNS server. The different properties of DNS server are interface, advanced, forwarded, routing, logging, security, and debug. What is primary zone? This is the read and writable copy of zone file in the namespace. This is primary resource for information about the zone and it store the master copy of zone data in a local file or a ADADS. That is default the primary zone file is named as zone_name.dns in Windows directory system32 DNS folder on the server. What is secondary zone? This is the read-only copy of zone file in the DNS namespace. This is secondary secondary source for information about the zone, and it gets the updated information from the master copy of primary zone. The network access must be available to connect with primary server, as secondary zone is merely a copy of primary zone that is hosted on another server. It cannot be stored in ADDS. Question number 9. What is stub zone? A stub zone is a read copy of zone that contain only these resource record which are necessary to identify the authoritative DNS server. For the particular zone, a stub zone is particularly used to resolve name between separate DNS name server. This type of zone is generally created when a corporate manager or acquire and DNS server for two separate DNS namespace resolve name for client in both namespace. Stub zone contain the start of authority SOA resource record name server NS resource record and the glue a resource record for a delegated zone. The IP address of one or more master server that can be used to update the stub zone. Question number 10. What are the LM host file? The LM host LAN manager host file is used to enable domain name resolution under Windows when other method such as wins fail. It is used in conjunction with workgroup and domain. Question number 11. What is cache only server? Cache only server are these DNS server that only perform name resolution query cache and the answer and return the result to the client. Once the query is stored in cache, next time the query is resolved locally from cache instead of going to the actual site. Question number 12. What is edging and skewing? DNS server running Windows Server support edging and skewing feature. These features are provided as a mechanism to perform cleanup and removal of state resource record from the server and zone. This feature removes the dynamically created record when they are stamped as stale. By default, gaining, the gaining and scavenging mechanism for DNS server service is disabled. Scavenging and gaining must be enabled both at the DNS server and on the zone. Question number 13. What is SRV record in DNS? The SRV record is secure record in DNS that is used to identify or point to a computer that hosts specific services, that is Active Directory. Question number 14. What is forwarding in DNS? A forwarder is a feature in DNS server that is used to forward DNS query for external DNS name to DNS servers outside of that network. We can configure a DNS server as forwarder to forward the name query to other DNS servers in the network when they cannot resolve locally to the DNS server. Question number 15. Differentiate between domain cloaking and domain forwarding. Domain cloaking, also known as URL masking or URL cloaking, is similarly to URL redirect, except that instead of redirecting the client to your web page, the web page is displayed in a frame from our web server. Domain forwarding, also called URL forwarding, is a worldwide web technique for making a web page available under more than one URL address. Question number 16. How do I clear the DNS cache on the DNS server? It's so simple. Go to Start, click the Start, enter CMD, In the Start menu, search text box, right-click command prompt and select Run as administrator. Run the following command ipconfig space slash flush DNS. If the command succeed, the system return the following message. Question number 17. What are the query type in DNS? There is a two type of query in DNS. First, recursive query. This name query are generally made by DNS client to DNS server or by a DNS server that is configured to pass unresolved name query to another DNS server. In the case of DNS server, configured to use a forwarder. Interactive query. An interactive name query is one in which a DNS client allows the DNS server to return the best answer it can give based on its cache or zone data. If the queried DNS server does not have an exact match for the query name, the best possible information it can return is a referral. The DNS client can then query the DNS server for which it obtained a referral. It continues this process until it locates a DNS server that is authoritative for the query name or until an error or timeout condition is met. Question number the tool for troubleshooting of DNS. Question number 19. How to check DNS health? You can use the dcdig command for your DNS testing. Question number 20. What are the query type in DNS? Question number 18. What are the tools for troubleshooting of DNS? Basically, we are using our DNS console, nslookup, DNS command, ipconfig, DNS logs. Question number 19. How to check DNS health? You can use the dcdig command for your DNS testing. Question number 20. What are the query type in DNS? Okay, sorry. Question number 20 is what is protocol transport? DNS primarily used for the user datagram protocol UDP on port number 53 to serve request. DNS query consists of single UDP request from the client followed by the single UDP reply from the server. The transmission control protocol TCP is used when the transport data size exceeded 512 bytes or for tasks such as zone transfer. Some resolver implementation used to TCP for all queries. Thank you.